You just have that look on your face.
You were going around earlier saying talking to everyone how they were so tired today.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just kept thinking I shouldn't be this tired. I did the Kiwi thing twice now.
Okay, give me your update.
Well, first I just kept looking at it and I was like, this thing is way too furry. So we have like a potato scrubber. It's not really a potato scrubber. That's just what we call it. So I couldn't do it with the fur on it. It just seemed too something. Yeah, it seemed
Yes.
weird. But it really wasn't that bad with the skin on. I didn't think it was.
I didn't think it was
Yeah,
either.
no. I mean, the first bite was a little apprehensive, but after that, it was fine. Um, and then
Eating furry things. Yes, I mean the idea is quite somewhat disarming. I was going to ask you how long before bed you ate it. I think it's supposed to be an hour before, but I can't always time it right.
I think the first night was an hour, and then the second night was I think I only made it like half an hour.
Oh, see, you naturally knew when to.
But I think I had a different result than you because I did notice, and it's weird. It's hard to explain like how I knew, but
Okay.
both times that I slept very hard. If that makes sense, like very
Like deep?
I don't even know if deep, like just like I'm not a light sleeper, but this was like a very I want to say like intense sleep.
Okay.
But I woke up each time extremely early, like
How early?
too early.
Okay.
And then
I have something to add to that, but you finish.
oh no, I woke up way too early the last couple nights, and I would just try to like go back to sleep for a little while.
Oh no.
This morning was not as early as yesterday morning.
Okay.
Because I did it recent, like I just got them, like I did it recently. Because you said they had to be like ripe, so when I got them, they were still kind of firm. So I waited and I kept testing, and they finally felt like soft enough. Because I didn't know how ripe they had to be.
I honestly don't know either.
Maybe it's just the skin that was like worrying me, but yeah.
So you slept harder / deeper, and you. Right, I don't know where my.
It's all this Tehran.
Yes. No, it really is. And, okay, yes. That's where my mind is. But I was going to say, so when you woke up earlier, how did you feel, though?
Well, not being a morning person, I don't speak for. I think I mentioned it before. How like even here, like people just kind of know that I'm not going to really talk for like the first hour.
No, look, I say good morning, and you look at me, and that's fine. That's enough for me.
But so I don't know. I didn't wake up and be like, "Let's go," Like I was still like, maybe I can sneak in a little bit longer. But after waking up and then like falling back asleep before my alarm started going off multiple times as that does, that sleep wasn't as like heavy. Yeah, it was really strange.
Okay.
I mean, I want to try it again.
Okay.
I mean, I still have at least 4 more kiwis.
Oh, wow.
Maybe I should try 2. It just seems like a lot of kiwi.
2 is the most that I've eaten.
Maybe I should try 2.
And I was going to say, that first night when I didn't have caffeine and I wasn't trying to fit all of the exercise in, I slept really hard and deep, as you said, and I woke up feeling great. And it was early, but I was ready to go. I mean, not 2:00 early, but.
Did you plan to wake up early and you were ready to go? Or did you wake up early and you were like, well, I'm up, and you just like felt gung-ho? You felt Goggins getting out of it?
Yes. That particular day, I was not planning on getting up early, and my body was up, and I felt like I was ready to go. That was, and I woke up feeling like I had so much energy.
Right.
And I find that even if I have like just even 2 or 3 hours of like deep sleep, I feel very well rested. I don't have to have like 6 or 8 hours of sleep after that. I feel fine. But yes, as far as our thoughts about Toronto, it's gotten quite spicy, although the Apple version isn't as smutty as the book possibly is, I guess.
I don't know. I guess where are you at?
I am on chapter 9, Widow Repose. I am like three-fourths of the way through,
Okay,
right?
yeah, you're further than me. I think in you're further than me in the Apple version. Um, I, what's happening? Because the
Um,
book it did something strange compared to the Apple one.
okay, I don't remember anything strange, but do you remember me mentioning that it's certain parts that I read, I feel like I was missing some context because it just didn't seem complete. Like a certain emotion
Yeah,
or the tone of the story changed, but I didn't really like know
yeah.
why.
Well, what's happening? What's
Oh,
happening?
like
That's
now,
yeah.
um, let's see. Tehran is trying to, or they are still trying to get Tehran into Carmesina's chamber and bed.
Okay.
They they have been well. I mean, it seems like they've been doing that for the past 100 pages. I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say both versions. It definitely went from like building up the knights, then having the battle, and then it became like a romantic comedy. It has every trope of like a
Okay. Yes. Yes.
modern
Yes.
romance where like the
You're
people
right.
like each other, but then something happens where they can't be together. Which in this story, it's the widow saying all the bad things,
Yes.
or at least that's how it starts, and then they try to get back together, and then maybe something else happens. I don't know.
There. Have you gotten to that weird part about the Empress and Hippolytus?
Okay, I didn't know if that was in this version. I'm in that in the book version. That's where I'm at. That's where I've stopped there. But with the Apple one, so the halfway point is almost three-fourths of the book one. So
Oh,
it
okay.
jumps incredibly.
All right, that's what I mean because I really noticed that shift.
Because I would say I have roughly less than maybe 200 pages
Okay.
in the book one, which seems like a lot, but compared to the rest of it, it really isn't.
Mhm.
But that's basically where I'm at now is like almost like the halfway point in the Apple one. It's real strange how it just
Okay.
kind of. I'm trying to think what all was taken out to make it, or at least added in this one, because like there was other things like the part with the spy, the
Spy.
it was like the kid who was caught by the Moors and then raised a Muslim, but he was like, but before I was caught, it was real
Oh,
brief. They gave him a saint name. That was
I know who
longer
you're
in the
talking.
book. Like that whole
Okay.
thing had more context. And
Okay.
then when they were in the battle and Diophobus was like, I want glory, and then Tarant tried to punish him.
Mhm.
In the Apple one, it was like three sentences, if that, and then in the book, there was a lot more to that.
Okay, because I do remember Tehran being very displeased with him not following out.
But
Right.
it was a blip in
Okay.
this. Whereas in the other one, there was a lot more to it, and he really punished. He didn't let anyone like celebrate anything.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was a little different.
So, a lot more detailed, I guess, of the events.
Maybe detailed, or maybe just how it kind of like drones on a little bit more in the other one.
Okay.
And then there's other events. I don't think I got it. If it's in the Apple one, I just haven't got to it yet. But suddenly, King Arthur shows up in a prison.
I have not
Yeah. Okay.
come across King Arthur, and
Yeah.
I am like three-fourths of the way
You would have been
through.
by now because if I
Okay.
got to it where you're at in here, you should have gotten to it if it was there.
Okay.
But yeah, there was like all of a sudden it's kind of detoured, and then I couldn't quite put it together. But like apparently, like King Arthur is in some prison, and she came to visit. And if he's holding the sword, he can talk, and if he's not holding Excalibur, he like shuts down. And they handed it to him, and then he gave all these rules about different things. Like, if you want to be a good knight, here are the 5 things. If you to be a good maiden, here are the 6 things you must do to be like all these different. And it just kind of went, and then that was it.
Huh.
it was like the bread scene. There's a lot of missing prison scenes in the Apple one, it
Okay.
seems.
Yeah, because I have not come across any of that. But I mean, I can definitely tell now that it's abridged, I guess, because I
Mhm.
feel like a lot of things are missing. I
Yeah.
mean, not even,
Yeah.
before I talk to you about it.
I mean, the main bits all seem to be in there. Like it does hit all the major plot points, but some of these side things that are superfluous. That must have been how there was like the two authors. This must have been like the stuff from the other guy.
Okay.
But
Oh, can I just quickly mention what I was really surprised about, I guess?
what?
So, like, Princess Carmesina is she is very focused and concerned about keeping her chastity and honor, and Tarant wants to honor that,
Right.
but the woman, girl, how old? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing her name right, but I say Claire de Mavida or something like that.
Oh, I was gonna. There's something. She's older. She's
All
a
right,
little bit older, I think.
that's what I thought, but I wasn't quite sure. But so Princess Carmesina and Tarant, were basically sort of on the same page, even though Tarant was willing to respect the fact that she wanted to keep her chastity and honor, but
Right.
Claire de Mavida, she was like, oh, you need to force her
Well,
to.
she's the comic relief. Like she's the kinky little thing. She. So her name in the book is Pleasure of My Life. And then I was looking at
Really?
the word because it's Player de ma vida,
Mm-hmm.
and the Meda Vida caught my attention. It
Mm-hmm.
dawned on me because that means of my life. So
Mm-hmm.
I looked up the player, and player is Catalan for pleasure.
Oh,
So her name is
interesting.
Pleasure of My Life.
Oh, well, it makes sense then.
So
I mean, but were you surprised by that though? Like how? I mean,
not now that her character's kind of built to like be the saucy one, I guess.
okay.
And so what does she do? She also did the weird stuff with the Tron in the bed thing.
Wasn't she in bed with them?
Yeah, but even before that, so like Phoebus and Stephanie got married, and so she puts the cats outside the window in both versions. I have no idea why.
Yes, I
I
remember
don't know
that.
why the cats must have been like another slice in the bread thing that must have
Mm-hmm.
been very specific. But then she brings the emperor to come listen to them,
Mm-hmm.
like a little weird. And they're both like just hanging out, listening to them, have their wedding night. But in the book version, she says the emperor says something, and she goes, "Oh, they might be in the dark, but the man always finds the right door." And it was, but so the part you're talking about, she gets Tarant in the bed. I don't know how it is in the Apple, but she gets Tarant in the bed, and Tarant is like fondling the sleeping princess, and every time the princess starts kind of waking up,
Mm-hmm.
Pleasure of My Life is like, no, it's just me, and it's kind of weird.
Do you remember? I think in the Apple version, I don't know if you've reached that part yet, but she was also somewhat touchy feely with the princess, and the princess was like, she was actually speaking to her.
Oh, well, I mean,
But that was.
they did all take the bath together in the book version, her
But for
and the
a
widow.
but for a woman to
Look, she is just trying to live
live
the pleasurable life
the
of her
saucy.
name.
Yes, yes.
She's
Okay.
trying to have the pleasure in her own life.
Yes.
But I don't think things are going to quite work out as well for her as she's hoping, since Hippolytus is a.
Can we quickly mention? Have you gotten to the part with him and the Empress?
Yeah, they're hooking up.
Why, in this Apple version, why is she referring to him as son?
Oh, I don't know.
I just think it's a little odd and creepy that she would just sort of bring that up with someone who she is intimately involved with.
Yeah, it took the whole thing kind of like they were all talking about like the chivalry and like you know the whole like religious aspects of stuff, and then it's this weird debauchery.
Yeah, I noticed that too. And in the version that I'm reading, when Tarant jumps out of the window or he falls down to his to the ground, he breaks his leg.
Right.
And then this book is like, so let's leave him now in pain while we jump to.
That's funny.
I just got such a kick out of that, and then yeah, so
But yeah, that happened because I read that part in the book version, and yeah, it talks about how like the bones were sticking out and stuff.
yes.
Yeah. So there's a lot of similarities, but there's
Okay.
definitely a lot of. The Apple one is more concise, but some of that I think takes out some things.
Yeah, I definitely feel that certain things were missing,
Right.
and I could really tell.
But
That's why I don't like reading abridged versions. But I mean, as you said, when we initially started this, you didn't feel like I was missing out, but do you feel that I am now?
nah.
Okay.
I mean,
It's
I mean, having like 6 pages of King Arthur telling you all these rules is not.
so I guess the translator felt the same way because he is not mentioned at all in this book. So I am very interested to see how things transpire between the Empress and Hippolytus. I am so scandalized by it. I just have no idea how it's going to end or turn out. And then the widow repose. What about her? She's quite a wicked one.
I haven't got as far with her as I don't think you. I think you further with her, about her stuff than I would. I do know that she's in love with Tarant, so she's trying to make the princess say he's like a bad man. And I think the little speech that they gave in the Apple one was a lot harsher than the one in the book, being how like he wants to like cut off her head and stuff, and like I don't remember that in the book. It seems a little extreme, but
So what do you think of the book so far overall?
it's not the worst one.
We know which one that is.
I don't hate it, but it's not. I could see. I guess trying to. Why was this out of everything included as one of the books to read? Like why was this one on the list? And I guess this one did. It's on there because maybe it's like one of the first. I think it was like the first fast like chivalrous novel, but it doesn't mean it's like the best. Maybe I don't know, but I don't hate it, but I wouldn't say like, oh, everyone should definitely read this one. Whereas other things we've picked up, like the Water Margin was very interesting, and I even have recommended that one. But don't hate it.
I feel the same way in that after reading the other epics, there really isn't anything new.
Right.
It just seems like it's another retelling of what we've already read. So far, it's a I don't know 2/3 for me. What do you think?
Well, I'm getting more and more curious about that movie.
Every time. Okay, so having read further, I definitely see why they made the movie what it is.
Yeah, but I guess too, like we were curious. There were so many pages of nothing really that scandalous, and then now it's quite.
It hits you suddenly.
It's just strange that because the intro to the book one was talking about how even though the guy who wrote the book, writing wasn't a like manly thing to do. There's like it's become like a sex comedy. Like it's kind of strange. It's very it's interesting. I guess it's interesting as an artifact. I'm curious to see how influential it was to like other things we'll come across, especially like Don Quixote.
Yeah.
Because so far, like I said, everything's building. Like, you can see. I mean, not so much now since we're all over the world, and it wasn't like people in Spain were getting Chinese literature, but you can definitely see how certain aspects are building upon each other, and I don't know. So, or like how was this one anyway like influential to the next one, which was the grand romantic play? Because at first I was like, how could that be? And then now I'm like, well, maybe, even though That's the one thing about the romances. It's just a lot of back and forth. When if y'all just like sat down and talked, y'all could like clear up like a lot, like very quickly. But I guess where's the fun in that? I don't know.
And there's always a liaison, I guess, where the person who plays matchmaker and
Yeah.
tries to make everything happen.
Or
Because
break them apart.
True. And we also saw that was it the water margin? No. Yeah. Certain parts of it had that.
Like the matchmaker stuff?
character. Yeah.
Oh yeah, a lot. So far I think
All of them.
all of them
Yeah.
at some point.
Arabian Nights.
Mm-hmm. And then even Genji.
Oh yeah. So I am thinking that we'll probably be finished the next time.
Yes.
I'm actually ready to move on as well.
Yes. Ready.
And did we decide to do another fun book before we leap back into the 1001?
It was whoever finished first.
I don't know. Okay. Which is worse, you picking or me picking? I mean, I think
I don't know.
I think both can be.
I don't know. You got something in mind?
You know that I always have a backlist of odd and strange books that I reserve just for you.
But you seem like you're leaning towards something. I mean, you cranked out a lot of pages. I think you're trying to get there.
I mean, yes, I have a few ideas.
Okay.
But I don't know if you want me to pick, actually, even if I finish first, because I don't think you've picked a book for us in a while, have you?
I've so far picked 1,001 books for us. Next one's a play, so that shouldn't take too long.
Okay.
It should. None of these should take too long. All of these take so long. I don't know.
Well, time takes on a different meaning for us with these books, so.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we'll be finishing up next time, I'm thinking. And we will.
So.
Yes, I think I'm definitely ready to.
Yes. I don't know. It's just like I said. It's not bad. It's just.
Do you almost feel like burned out by
Yeah.
these epics? They seem to be, I mean, these stories all seem to run along the same vein, as.
I mean, doesn't every story? Like not every story together, but like
Genre, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe the epic genre. That's why they're all kind of similar, but I don't know.
Do you have any idea how long the play is?
Hopefully the plays back then also did not go on for weeks at a time. No, I think it's only like all together with like introductions and stuff. I think it's only like 300 pages or so.
Okay.
It seems manageable.
Okay.
Seems quicker.
But
there was no like TV and stuff back then, so they had to like entertain themselves with these long stories, I guess.
mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It's been interesting for sure.
Yeah, it'll be. Next time's the last one. It's got to be.
I
thought
hope
this one.
so.
I thought this one was going to be, but
I'm
it did not.
almost afraid to look.
At-
I'd rather not know
At what?
what's coming next after the play.
Oh yeah, you don't want to know.
Now I do want to know. What is it, Ryan?
I don't remember, but then when I saw it, I was like, "Oh, Joy's gonna kill me." I didn't look into it. It just something about it made it seem like it was another doozy.
You are kidding.
I could be wrong. I didn't look into it. I just saw the title, and I think it's Spanish again. I think we're having two Spains back to back.
Okay.
And then I kind of just kept flipping, and I was like, "Wow, Joy's gonna."
Oh no.
Joy's gonna give up on me.
Oh no. Look, we have come this far. We can't stop.
We have come 6 books.
But as you've said many times, I think frustrating as it can be sometimes, I think in the end I am always glad that we've read it.
Yeah. Like, as much as I don't like, as much as I didn't like the Genji one, I don't regret reading it.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because at least that I have a new understanding of not just like the time period in the story itself, but just the history of literature, I think, is what makes it also interesting, since that's the first novel. And then I'll be reading something else and they'll reference Genji, and that's not just a passing comment for me anymore. That's something I actually understand. Doesn't mean I have to like the understanding of it, but I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I understand things differently, which is, isn't that kind of the point of art, is to help understand things differently? So
Yes. Yes.
so I don't know.
Yes, and to see the world with new eyes. Through Genji's eyes.
No. Well, now I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go look up what's after the play and not tell you, because you'll
I think
maybe it's not. It might not be bad. I don't know.
I think the other thing is, as I've mentioned in a previous podcast, I think is that I'm just ready to sort of just get into the more modern stories. Modern meaning, gosh, I don't know. I just these epics. These epics. I mean, but Don Quixote, it's an epic, but in another way, because
Right.
from what I remember, I really enjoyed it.
But maybe if you think about, so these days there's a lot more. It's a business. A lot of the book selling and the book, it's the book business, the publishing industry. If this was made today, it would have been, like book one, and then a sequel, and then a trilogy. It wouldn't have been just one, and that's how we're taking it, as one giant story. Whereas I feel like maybe if we took it as 3 books, it wouldn't seem so.
Mm-hmm. What can't be prevented must be endured.